To the Webby O'Neill channel. Plenty of Manchester United chat in today's video. We want to get you involved, so get your own opinions in. We will discuss them throughout today's video. We've also had a listen to Erik Ten Hag's press conference, to which right now I wish he didn't, to be honest with you, but we are going to come out with a couple of bits that he did say in that press conference, just to get your reactions and your own opinions in on it as well. But first of all, I want to know your opinions on his press conference.
I've heard some things by Erik Ten Hag, but that was bizarre. His answers, his thought, where he was going, what he was talking about, his answers, everything was proper bizarre, in my opinion, on what he was saying. I don't know whether it was the time of the night when he was doing it, whether he was rushed, he wasn't prepared. That's an excuse, but I'm telling you, that was bizarre.
Yeah, quite bizarre. I'm going to go into a couple of comments that he did actually mention, and he was talking about injuries and injuries that he suffered this season on Manchester United and where they're currently at. And he said, we have to do better to get more players available, because we know when we have them, we are a really tough team to play. And when we have them, we can be really successful. And that is what we have shown over the past couple of months. And he's saying that we've been successful in the past couple of months, and that's what we've shown. I've actually had to go through the past results over the last couple of months, because I thought I was dreaming of the results and some of the performances that I've actually seen with my own eyes, and nothing's changed. And I'm finding it hard to pick out at any point in the season up to now where we've been actually successful, because successful, I think, is a strong statement to make. The only success I can see is against teams like Southampton 3-0, Barnsley. But Manchester United can't play Southampton and Barnsley every week. We're playing much bigger teams. We're in the Premier League. We demand more as fans.
Successful. That's baffling. Yeah. If you look at the season, how it's gone. So if that's successful, everyone clamouring and expecting Erik Ten Hag to be sacked virtually after every game, because it's not been successful. And that's the bizarre thing about it. I don't know where his head's at. A tough team to beat. Man United have shown this season and a lot of last season that they've not been a tough team to beat. They've been very poor at times. So when all the players are together, tough team to beat. Nah, not having it, me. I think he just absolutely had a meltdown with his brain talking there, because, look, the facts, the score lines, everything, the way United have played, doesn't tell you they've been successful. So I don't know what's going on with Erik Ten Hag, and he better get it right for this weekend. That's all I can say, because that was one poor manager press conference.
Yeah, I'm looking at the result against Fenerbahce, the actual result, not performance, and I'm not too disappointed with the result. I've got to be honest. Said in the match preview, come away from there with a point. You know, yeah. It's no disappointment, but the performance, the team selection at the start, for me, I just don't get it. I've been trying to work different things out in my head as to try and bring some positives out of that, and why he would have chose that starting 11. You know, some might say, well, we've got West Ham, it's a quick turnaround on the Sunday. But I'm always a big believer. You always start with your strongest team. No matter whether you're going from the Premier League into a European competition or a domestic cup competition, play your strongest 11. And you've got to do that. And then rotate round about that 60-minute mark if you need to, if you've got a tight turnaround between games. For me, the Managerial thing, you know, I think he mentioned after the game, he has played him in that position in the past at Ajax maybe, and I still don't get it. You know, for me, you had to have Casemiro and Agati in midfield and push Eriksen further forward in that number 10. I think Erik Ten Hag said he didn't want 4 forwards on the pitch, and that was one of the reasons he might not have chose Ahmad in that position. But you've got Christian Eriksen there. You know, he will give you that attacking threat, but he's also a midfielder, so he knows when to defend as well. And for me, Casemiro, like I say, should have been in there. I think it would have been a lot better seeing that midfield and also starting Højlund up front. I mean, you'd see the way he took that goal against Brentford, clearly full of confidence. He did look a lot more of a threat than what Zirkzee did when he come on in that second half. I mean, Zirkzee right now, we've been saying off camera, it looks like he's got wellies on at the moment, Zirkzee. You've seen that pass he gave for Rashford, way overhit it. I think it was a minute or two later, Garnacho made a fantastic run down the left, and he just failed. Well, I don't think he failed to spot it. He spotted it, but he didn't have the confidence there to play that ball. And to be honest with you, he didn't need to play a Hollywood pass. It was a pretty straightforward pass, I think, what he should have made, Zirkzee. And, there's just some players in that game against Fenerbahce. You're looking at some of the points they had where they was in the attacking third, decision-making again. And I think this was your point, correct me if I'm wrong, in that Brentford game where we beat them 2-1. It was the decision-making from the forwards in the games, especially in that first half. The decision-making wasn't good. In the second half, we upped the tempo. That's what we needed to start like, I think, Man United against Fenerbahce. That same tempo, what we're seeing for 20, 25 minutes against Brentford in that second half. And I wanted us to start like that because we would have put Fenerbahce on the back foot. And we only really had one moment of class, and that was for the goal where 4 or 5 players were involved. And, the inconsistency with this team, you don't know which team you're getting from minute 1 to the 90th minute, what team you're getting from the first half to the second half. It's completely Jekyll and Hyde at the moment. And for me, he's got to concentrate, Erik ten Hag, on getting wins now. You've mentioned it, and I've mentioned it in the past couple of weeks since we've come back from that international break. We need to win these games from now up until the next break.
Well,
it's imperative.
A couple of points there, before the game.
Sorry, I just had to get a few bits out there. It was your match reaction last night, but we do see things a little bit different, me, you and Webber.
Yeah, well, before the game, every man, 100%, every United fan thought Eriksen is a shoo-in to play in Bruno's role. That's what we all expected. Now, it was a complete shock to everybody. We did say it, that Mazraoui was there. And I've turned around time and time again and said, there is games you do not experiment in. So that was puzzling from Erik ten Hag. The quality on the pitch, in some places it was good, some places it wasn't. But the same problem we've had last night has been there all season. We can't score a goal. Well, that killer instinct, did say it, wasn't there in the 18-yard box. Kieron's just mentioned Zirkzee there, giving a simple ball to Garnacho. But then you turn it round. Garnacho himself wasn't given the simple ball, was sort of running with his head down, didn't create in that 18-yard box. And that's where United have failed all season. So I just don't understand when we go back to Erik ten Hag, what he's talking about. One of the most bizarre things I've heard him say in his press conference was that we've played well and we've won a lot of games. Well, we haven't won a lot of games. And he turns around and he's trying to tell us all, right, that he's ignoring the Tottenham Hotspur defeat, sort of blaming. And this is what annoys me. And there's plenty of things what annoy me. I don't always say the things what annoy me. But Erik ten Hag turning around saying, I'm ignoring that Spurs game and sort of like, deflecting it as if to say Bruno got sent off, and you all know, this is what he was saying, you all know it was overturned, so it didn't give us the opportunity to fight back. Well, before Bruno got sent off, as far as I remember, okay, I've not looked at it, he's only just done his press conference, I'm thinking Tottenham were all over us, United was poor, that weren't a tough team. So everything about what he's been saying about the season, about yesterday, about going forward, it is a worry. And one of your points, what you did say, Keir, about the games, what are coming up. We have said on this channel a few times, and while the international break was on, that Erik ten Hag has to come back and win these games, the Premier League games. That's what I was talking about before the international break in November. And going to West Ham, he has to win that game. He has to win them all because his job is on the line, and quite rightly so. Last night, the bizarre experiment does not bode well as far as I'm concerned, does not bode well for anybody. But the main problem, what we've got, is reoccurring, and that is in that 18-yard box and that final pass. The final pass, we should have scored in the second half. That final pass straight across to Højlund was there to be had, and it wasn't done. And then in the end, it just messed up to Rashford. But it was poor in that 18-yard box, and we did say it. That killer instinct isn't there. So Erik ten Hag, right, is under massive pressure. We've accepted he's under pressure, and come November, when that international break comes, these results now, right, we've got to be hard to beat, but never mind hard to beat, we've got to win them. It's as simple as that.
Martin says, I swear Erik Ten Hag says things to wind people up. I tell you what, mate. That's the kind of thing you discuss in a pub with your pals and all that. And
to get them at it.
Yeah, to get them at it. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
there's some of the things like we've just said there in his press conference, not just this press conference in isolation ahead of West Ham, others as well, where you're just like scratching your head, wanting to put your head through a glass window, and because you just can't see what the positives that he's taking out of it.
Yeah.
And the facts are actually stating it in front of your eyes that where have we actually been successful for periods in this season already?
No, we haven't.
You do look at, like, let's say the Porto goal. We scored goals in there, you know. We scored a couple of goals against Brentford.
It was a dreadful capitulation at Porto.
Yeah, well, yeah, considering where we was in the lead and that, and you know, you just sometimes you are clutching at straws. You know, you don't want to just come on here and start hammering your manager, hammering your players, just picking on all the negatives what are going on in and around the club at the moment. But he doesn't help himself when he's coming out with things like that at all. And for me, he only gives more and more ammunition for the press, the media, and for people who don't think Erik Ten Hag's good enough for the job, just to go back at him. And you can't really defend him.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
In that aspect of it.
No. No, listen, we don't fully defend Ten Hag. What we don't do is shout, we want our manager out. And, you know, that's the way I've supported my club all my life. And I'll stick to that. Look, you look at last night's game, there was plenty of negatives there. I look at Marcus Rashford. I thought, if you go back and look at that game, for instance, Marcus Rashford had the opportunity to get the ball, turn and go at him. Every time I see Marcus Rashford, except for that one chance, he was given the ball, plenty of space. He didn't turn. He just passed it back or he passed it sideways. He didn't want to turn and go on the attack and start United and push United forward. So there's plenty, and I'm just using Rashford there, but there was also plenty of good positives. But I do look at the side going away to Turkey, and I did say beforehand, no matter what, I'll be happy coming away with a draw. Going to European football is a completely different ballgame, and I look at it differently. It's always tough. Go to Turkey, going away in Europe is completely different. Yes, I think really we had the opportunities, but in that 18-yard box and going on the attack, I think United failed. But it's not the first time they failed all season, and we've pointed it out. There have been times there that they have been poor in the choice of that final ball or getting their head up. But he had a tactic, first half, let's just defend, and then let's try and break and get the goal. And that worked. Wasn't pretty. Was not pretty. And then the second half, they came out of the shell and went on the attack more, but didn't produce in the final third.
Yeah, you mentioned Rashford there. Don't get me wrong, I don't think he had like a poor game, a stinker or anything. I just wanted to see more from Rashford, show more of what he's actually good at, and that's facing that way, running at their defenders or trying to run into the space behind the defenders. And a lot of it was all with his back to goal, wanting to pass it back to either the midfielders, the right back, or pass it sideways. Whereas what I see Rashford hanging on the shoulder of the last defender, you know, trying to push them further back. And, you know, Rashford's not the only one.
No,
I'm still struggling to find the reasons why there's people out there and fans in general who actually think Dalot's a good player. I'm struggling to find it because for me, Diogo Dalot, in the big moments that matter, continually lets Manchester United down. Yeah, he'll have some good moments, like a lot of players do. We all have them good moments, but the big moments, the key moments, whether it's defensively or in attack, you've seen that position we got in where Rashford took up a great position, Højlund did as well, and he volleyed it to Rashford as though he was playing on Old Trafford instead of the park at Fenerbahce. I mean, you look at the goal they scored. I mean, the way he actually moved his body to try and block that. And I'm not being extreme here. I see that on a Saturday or a Sunday when I've watched my lad play football for an under-12s or an under-13s game. Yeah. It's not good enough. You've seen it against Brentford, how he just lets his man run off him. You've seen it, the worst one was against Tottenham for Brendan Johnson. He could see him in front of him. I can forgive players when there's a bit of movement from the opposition and they get outdone tactically like that, you know, in that split moment. Yeah. But I cannot forgive players where they're seeing people that the whole ground's in front of him, the players in front of him, and they just let players just run off him. I can't forgive that.
He did it last night.
I cannot forgive that. And again, for me, Dalot, this high-fiving, fist-pumping merchant, I just don't buy it, me. I just do not buy it with him at all. And for me, as soon as we get a left full-back fit on that pitch, I hope he gets dropped, and I hope Mazraoui gets put in that right-back spot, because for me, he's just not Manchester United standard. And we talk about a lot of players in this squad who aren't good enough. People always say the same names for me, but no one's calling out Diogo Dalot for some of the incompetent performances that lad's putting in. You can look at the Porto game. People might say, oh, he was playing left-back. Still not good enough. Still not good enough. Allowing players to get crosses in. Allowing him to get crosses in. Not put, like hunting
time after time.
Yeah, it's time after time with him.
Yeah.
Time after time. And just because he makes some of these fancy runs of this inverted fullback in modern day football, where he's like taking up his position where Bruno Fernandes should be, it's like, oh, look at him. He's got a great tactical awareness. No, he's not. No, he's not. Like I say, he will get some things right, like all players do. But the big moments, the key decisions, he gets wrong time and time again.
Well, I just look at it overall, United last night. The final pass, just not good enough. I know Onana summed it up. And he didn't just sum up last night. He sort of summed up what's going on. And Onana got it right, spot on. We need to score and we need to win. And it has to change because the pressure is on. And it's not just on Erik ten Hag, it's on them players as well. Kieron, quite rightly, goes on about Dalot. I think he's had a poor season. He's got to improve, and it's got to start now because come that international break, I'm telling you, there is going to be an assessment and look at the season, and then we come up to Christmas. Well, I'm telling you, Erik ten Hag has to get it right, and I've said Erik ten Hag has to get it right by this international break. And I've always said this season that come Christmas, Ineos will look at it no matter what, and say, right, now what's going on? Is there any chance? Has things changed? That's been my stance all season. I give an opinion on a game, okay? I do like to go in sometimes on certain players, and then sometimes I like to hold back. Just like I held back last night on Rashford. I was really wanting to go on him, but I didn't because I just thought, look, at the end of the day, it was a draw. It's Europe. And by rights, when you look going forward, we should qualify with ease with the games what are coming up. So there was no point me screaming. A lot of people did scream Erik ten Hag out, but they've been screaming time and time again. So, I like to try and be positive, but I am still letting you know and reminding you where I stand with Erik ten Hag. Come Christmas, if things haven't changed, then I know Ineos will start doing things and looking at replacing him. I've said that. This is his third year. You've said it. We've all said it on this channel. This is his third season. You can't have any more. And if it gets worse and you see no sign of improvement, then, hey, we all know what's going to happen. We all know what's going to happen. But I'm expecting United to go on a winning run now. Now, that might be me, blind optimism or anything like that. But these games are there, right?
Sorry to interrupt you. It's not about expecting. We demand it.
Yeah, we demand it, but we expect these games. I've looked at these games, okay? And I'm expecting United to win these games, these 5 games what we've got. I do not see any reason why we shouldn't. Yeah, no excuses that we shouldn't be winning them games. There's no excuses.
I do agree with that, but, positives from the Fenerbahce game for me was Agata, him starting. I thought it was a good start from him.
Yeah.
I actually thought he'd done some really nice, tidy work defensively as well. Some good touches as well to pass it on to the forward players. De Ligt, I'm liking him more and more game by game, and I think there's a lot more to come from him as well. He feels like he's got a real good presence at the back. I mean, for their goal, like I said before with Rashford and in particular Dalot, Lindelof there wasn't really watching his man, so to speak, made a run off him, but for me, them 2 players, and Anna did the double save as well. I think they're the positives to take out of it.
I thought Eriksen again, another night, another performance there. Yeah. What belies what we all thought. Eriksen out the door, he can't do it, he can't run. And he's proven us all wrong that he can compete throughout the game. And he has had plenty of games. This rotation talk. Doesn't seem to be any conversation about rotating him. And last night was a sure position for him, which was Bruno, and which shocked us all. And when I listened to Erik ten Hag in his press conference, he was talking about Ugarte. But do you know something? anyone's watched his press conference, he didn't seem upbeat about Ugarte. Yes, he played well, but we've got to integrate him into the side. It takes time and all that. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, I don't even... the way he was talking, I don't even see him being in the team at West Ham.
You was just bringing me on to my point there that I actually don't think he's going to start him against West Ham.
I didn't like what he said.
And I actually think that he'll probably play Casemiro alongside Eriksen, because Bruno will be obviously back. He's sure for starting in that 10 position. But for me, you've got to start Ugarte. You've got to start him. Yeah, I'd be happy with seeing Ugarte and Eriksen again in midfield, Bruno back in as the number 10.
What's he going to do? Drop Ugarte against West Ham when we've got to get the win, and then go and play him against Leicester in the Carabao Cup. To me, Eriksen talking about Ugarte, I would have been talking Ugarte up, as if to say he's in the team. Now, I did say before the game, right, the day before, that I expect Ugarte, it's the right game to put him in. And it proved the right game to put him in, because he was there. He was all over the place. He was getting in tackles. And I thought for an hour, for that introduction, I thought he did very, very well. But Ten Hag seems to be talking him down to me, which is going to be interesting to see if he picks him or not. And I do believe, I don't think he's going to pick him.
Lee Jones, I don't think he's listening, because we've said it time and time again. Tony, stop defending a terrible manager. No winning run. Time for the manager to get the sack. Well, no winning run, but I could go back at you if we wanted to be positive and say, well, we've not been beaten 4 games. But you probably might not. But yeah, defending a terrible manager.
Who's defending? I'm not defending a terrible manager.
No, I think what it is with some people, they want you to sit here and start screaming and bawling that Erik Ten Hag out, Ten Hag out, Ten Hag out.
Like a child.
Like a child. You've got a little bit more...
Football savvy.
Yeah, well, football savvy, however you want to put it, is, a bit of self-respect, really, in not sitting here getting irate and acting, basically. We just say it how it is. Some of you might not agree, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But, there's a difference in opinion, like you said last night, on the actual result in isolation compared to the actual performance of the team. There's 2 differences there. Yeah. The result, I think, is not disappointing. Good result in many aspects, coming away from Fenerbahce in a European way. But the performance wasn't good enough. Tactically, the manager and the actual players he started, he got it wrong. But what am I going to do? Sit here and say, "Oh, that's not good enough. Ten Hag out, Ten Hag out."
People want. If people want me to scream and shout, you have to go back. Yeah. For those what watch us on a regular basis, they will have heard me say several times, "I'm not screaming and shouting anymore because I'm watching what goes on, and what goes on is there is a time that Erik Ten Hag's got to turn it round, and if he doesn't turn it round, then Ineos will act." So there's no point me coming on here screaming and bawling after a game because he's not played well or he's not played well. Them days are over for now. It's watching and hoping that Erik Ten Hag can turn it round. And if he doesn't turn it around, I ain't going to be screaming about it. I'm just going to point it out that he's not turned it around.
Neil says, why are you calling us childish? I didn't actually call... No, listen to me. Yeah. I didn't call you childish, Neil. I didn't call any of us out there childish. I said, what do you want us to be like, screaming and shouting, like being childish? I mean, if we was to sit here and actually scream and shout and entertain you like that, I mean, we'd get a lot more views probably. We'd probably get a lot more subscribers by doing that. But like I say, we've got a bit of self-respect in the way into trying to understand it. And like my dad Tony said, we're seeing what's going on in the background here. We're watching it very, very carefully as to see what Ineos are doing, what noises they're coming out with, what Erik Ten Hag has said. Like, we're calling it out today. That it doesn't make sense what he's saying in his press conference about being successful when he's got a fully fit team, because I can't see no success apart from a win against Southampton and a win against Barnsley, who are right down there, by the way. We can't play Southampton and Barnsley every week.
No.
And when you're looking at the squad overall throughout the season up to now, yeah, there has been one or two positions, in namely left back. We've got no fully fit left back. I understand that, but all the rest of the positions around the squad has been good enough. The team on paper should have been coached in a way where we're seeing better performances, not just results, performances as well. You know, let's just forget about 25 minutes against Brentford. We want to see longer periods than that. Starting games off well, finishing games well.
Yeah, but, you know, people...
I just wanted you to make it all clear out there. I'm not pointing the finger at any of yous out there. I'm just saying it from our point of view, that we could sit here and start screaming and shouting Erik Ten Hag out, or Erik Ten Hag to stay. You know, both sides of the coin, but we're not going to do that. No. We just try and give a little bit of a mature chat just to get the main points out for you to get involved with your opinions. Yeah. And that's what it is.
Yeah, but the thing is, sometimes some people don't quite hear us clearly, or they're mistaken what we've said, just like calling people childish. We didn't call, we just said we wasn't going to act childish. And like I said to you, I will reiterate what I did say. I have said I have stopped ranting and raving because the time's over for ranting and raving. I'm looking to see change. And if I don't see change by the time the international break comes, then you will see a different type of approach from me about Erik Ten Hag and these players.
Neil actually come back and said, okay, my bad. It's not your bad. You know, you get your own opinions in, but, you know, just don't take it personally when we do come out with what we do say. You know, just stating the facts of why we say or do certain things. That's all. Just so we're all clear. Do you know what I mean? It's like sometimes you do a match reaction. You know, you'll be talking about a result, and you might be saying, oh, I think that was a good result, but people might be thinking, what are you on about? You know, did you see the performance and all that? But, you know, that's two totally separate things. You know, and sometimes you do a match reaction because it's in isolation just based on that match as well. And, you know, we all love our club. Let's not forget that. We're all passionate. You know, there's a lot of people out there with different opinions from ourselves, and that's absolutely fine. But it's all about us trying to get on together. We don't want to divide the fan base. Me and you definitely don't want to do that. Webby don't do that. And other people surrounding this channel don't want to do that either. It's about having a general discussion and a mature conversation, and that's the way I see it.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the way the football's going, the way the media is, everyone out there, everyone wants to scream and shout and all that. So when you try and give an opinion, okay, right, bang, they jump down your neck. I gave an opinion, right, and it absolutely, I got slaughtered for it, okay, and which was how I seen the game against Brentford in that first half. People came back and said that was a good first half. Yesterday's first half against Galatasaray was a lot better, against Fenerbahce, was a lot better than the Brentford first half. You know, that's how I see it. I just thought United was poor against Brentford in the first half. Clearly, they improved in the second half, right? And yesterday, the way United played, okay, they had a plan. Against Brentford, whatever plan was there, it didn't work because they didn't know what they were doing. So there's a difference. Okay, yes, it wasn't a great attacking side in that first half yesterday, but there was a plan. And they worked with that plan and they worked together. Against Brentford in the first half, they didn't know what they were doing. Sorry, that's how I seen it.
Did you think we played better in the first half against Fenerbahce than we did against Brentford in the first half?
Because there was a plan.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I've just understood your reasoning for it. But like I said to you out there, that statement he's just made, my dad, I don't agree with that. I still think we were poor, really, in the first half against Brentford. But I do think we were better against Brentford in the first half than we were against Fenerbahce in the first half.
There you go.
We all see the game differently, and we've got a difference of opinion, the three of us who do this channel, and that's why we try and say our own opinions. And sometimes it might get a little bit muddled up, but let's have it right. We're not media trained and stuff like that. We're just three lads with a camera, a mic, and we just go for it just to give you...
I'll just reiterate it. What it was, Brentford, there was a plan in the first half. It didn't work. The players didn't work together. What I'm saying about the Fenerbahce game, there was a plan for that first half, a clear plan, and they worked together, and that plan worked. They were playing counter-attacking football, soak the pressure up, and then try and get the goal. Well, that worked. It was totally different. One's Premier League, one's European. That's how I see it. Now, some people might get it, some people might not.
Do you know what, actually, when you've actually just put it like that, I kind of get what you're saying now, because we actually did go in 1-0 up as well. Whereas Brentford, yeah, we went 1-0 in down. But again, people look at the result and the performance, rightly so, and say they're two totally different things. So we do get that. Lee Jones, thanks for your super chat. He says, best Manchester United channel on the web. Respect to you both. Cheers, Lee.
Thank you very much.
No problem at all, and I appreciate the super chat. But yeah, any positives, any negatives, please get him in the chat. I've gone off on one here a little bit in terms of where we were going to structure this video, because I think a lot of us are passionate as well about our football club right now. The performances, the results, what the manager's actually saying in his press conferences, it's ringing inside my head, to be honest with you. Where I'm thinking to myself, I'm not seeing what the manager's actually saying.
No, I don't think you've gone off on one. I think what it is, I think you're coming out with things what have gone on, what you're expecting, what you're disappointed at and all that. And that's what people out there are doing. And we're getting it. And a lot of it sometimes looks proper negative and all that. And we get that. We get frustrated. Everyone gets frustrated. And sometimes you have to turn around. And I think what it is, I think everybody understands where we are as a football club and as a football team. And this is a pivotal moment. And when I reiterate that these 5 games we've got to win, we've got to win. Erik ten Hag has to turn it around and the players. I've earmarked, after the international break, all these games that we've got to get positive results. Because I don't believe, and I do not believe, that Ineos, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and all that are going to allow this to continue, these results. And it is a results-based game we're watching. The performances can be bad, but if we've won every game 1-0, we would all be cheering. We would all be cheering. So that's how it goes with football. But I'm telling you, these people in there are not sat there accepting what's going on. They're not accepting. The manager will not be allowed to carry on making, putting Mazraoui up there.
Experimenting.
He will not allow it. There is players there to put in. But touching just on that while I've mentioned it, that Mazraoui experiment, right, that is not just Erik ten Hag's fault. Everybody in that coaching setup and everything is responsible for that experiment. Okay, I believe it's only a one-off. We got away with it. If I see it again, an experiment like that, they won't accept that in there. They will not.
Yeah. I mean, you look at some of the top teams around Europe, you know, if a player, let's just say Bruno Fernandes, who they have in their team, is out suspended. You know, the backup really should have been Mason Mount, but he's got a scratch on his head. He's got a bit of a knock. So when he's going to be coming back, I don't know. But he's then had to put someone in there. I just think it was just glaringly obvious. Just put Eriksen in there and then have your Casemiro and your Agate, who are more defensively minded, just to sit there. But then you've got an attack there that's creative. But I just didn't agree again, though, with Zirkzee starting. You've got to start Hoyland. But then again, I'd be going from one thing to the other. Yeah. But I just want to try and stay a little bit positive.
Erik ten Hag gave an explanation for dropping Hoyland. Okay, that is not 100%. He doesn't believe he's 100%, and the game he was earmarking him for was the West Ham game. Now, unfortunately, Zirkzee, like, and Webby said it the other day, it looks like he's playing with Wellingtons on, you know, and it does, and it just doesn't look good for him. But I don't believe he's getting the help. I look at this team, and it will not perform until there's 1 or 2 players in this squad what are thrown out. And that's down to Erik ten Hag to throw him out. And he's not thrown him out. I don't know why he's not thrown him out, because there's 1 or 2 players there what are definitely not just not good enough, what aren't trying. Okay? And we all know one of them. And I went straight in on him nearly 12 months ago and said, I've had enough of him. Okay? And there's more there. So you work it out. If you watch regular, you'll know that player who I'm on about. And I'll mention it, Newcastle away, that player was an absolute disgrace.
You did say about Zirkzee, about players not also helping him out. But Zirkzee needs to help himself out.
Of course he does.
In that position that he's playing, some of the basics, some of the simple things he's just not getting right. It's clearly a lack of confidence in there. You know, is he actually good enough long term to play for Manchester United? On his recent performances, you know, you'd say highly doubtful, but you know, there's still a lot of the season still to go, and you're just hoping that he does find some form, because one thing we do need, and that's goals. And you're never confident with this Manchester United team that anything less than 2 goals will get a result out of the game. And I mean, just a point. For me, Man United need to score at least 2 or 3 goals to have any bit of trying to win the game.
Yeah. It is.
Do you know what I mean? Any hope of winning it.
But Zirkzee, his confidence is completely shattered. The press have been on him, been right at him from the very beginning. Fans have turned against him, which is a shame, really, because it's early days for him. But I don't think he's getting the help. I don't think Erik Ten Hag is using him to the best of his ability. But once your confidence goes, new kid turns up over here, and it's a different world. And he looks like a player what's just completely lost in whatever Erik Ten Hag's trying to do to him. I don't know what they're saying to him. I don't see him in the 6-yard box. You know, people, yourselves, people out there telling us Zirkzee should play in the 10 role and all that. He was signed as a centre-forward. So we could have 2 centre-forwards. He doesn't look like a centre-forward at this moment in time. I don't believe he is the type of centre-forward we actually need. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but he's not a centre-forward what we need. It's just, it's baffling at times, and it's all coming to a head. But I look at it this way, from a positive way. Okay, this is the way I want to look at it, right? It's all coming to a head. The doom and gloom is coming to a head. They're out there shouting, bawling, everything, no matter what goes on. But the thing is, it will all come to a head these next 5 games. I am sure of it. Because like I say, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Ineos, Barada, Ashworth, the lot of them, they're going to look at this and say, hang on a minute, he's been given the backing, he's been given the time and everything. Suddenly, he's turning up, Father Christmas, handing out the presents. Well, there's no presents been handed out here if it goes pear-shaped in the next 5 games. And it's not something I'm saying now, so I will say it again. I have been saying this for a long time.
Yeah, you have.
This is the point of where decisions will be made on results, on performances, and what's going on behind the scenes. I've not turned round and sort of suddenly said, oh, these 5 games. I've been saying it all season, but I'm not going to revert to slagging the team down and being hysterical after a match. I have said that. Yes, I've been angry many a time after a match, and quite rightly, and I have called Erik Ten Hag out, I've called players out, but I'm just watching what's going on. And ready, right, for what comes before this international break.
Watching to see what people do, what people say, the manager inside the club as well. But yeah, I'm just going to wrap it up there, I think.
Yeah, I hope we've got that off our... Well, I'm glad I've got that off my chest. I hope you understand out there where I am, but I'm also putting you back into the previous conversations we've had and trying to remind you, okay, when people come in and go, oh, you're sucking up to Erik Ten Hag and that. Well, these people what turn round, especially last night and other games and all that, going, oh, you're sucking up to Erik Ten Hag, you're this, you don't know what you're talking about and that. Well, these are the people what don't watch us on a regular basis. And that's why we value the people, the subscribers, the people what come on a regular basis, okay? Now then, I don't worry about people coming on here slagging me off, okay? Because then people don't listen on a regular basis. This is what you call the general social media thing. Once the hate's out there, they go trolling all over and that. That's fine. That's, you know, we accept that. You know, that's the way of the world. But I understand, and I've been saying it for a long time now, what's coming. Unfortunately, some of yous out there can't wait to get it off your chest. I'm holding mine in.
Until the right time, I take it.
Till the right time. And but the right time is after these 5 games.
Yeah, I think I've actually just put that in a wrong way, because you have actually explained yourself on numerous occasions, to be honest with you. I think we all have, the three of us, in our own opinions, which our own opinions are all different. I genuinely actually do think that, just like everyone out there has a different opinion to what we say, etc. Some might agree, some might not. But
well, the best one of disagreement was this, come from last night. You two don't know what you're talking about. Get Webby on his own. Well, Webby's got an opinion. Sometimes he agrees with us, sometimes he doesn't. That's football. That's what you do when you're all together as pals. That's what I've done all my life. You all sit there and you all have your disagreement and you all look at it different ways. And that's what we do on here. But unfortunately, what's turned is the negative and the abuse. That's what's come now, because the hate is there. We don't hate.
To be honest with you, I could do with Webby on here on his own, so I can enjoy the match day, actually have a pint on a match day and enjoy it as a fan. Get back into the fan culture. But I do miss actually doing this and getting it out off my chest, I've got to be honest with you.
Every now and again, we'll get it out on the chest.
Listen, it's actually therapy as well, and I'm sure it's therapy for you as well, just to get things out off your chest. But like I mentioned earlier on in the show, it's not about dividing the fan base.
No.
We all have a difference of opinion, and that's rightly so. But it's about how you actually interact with other Manchester United fans. And just for us, and I'm just talking about us, no one out there who's watching, we just do it in a different way. And that's all it is. That doesn't mean we're right, doesn't mean we're wrong. We just come out of it in a different way. And hopefully the regular people out there who do watch value that and, you know, encourage that. But, you know.
I'll say this on the last point. Yeah. When you want to comment, okay, like you do when you're with your pals and that, right? You don't turn around and go, that was crap. What you do is you give an explanation. Well, unfortunately, what's happened and what Twitter does and other social media outlets and all that is, it gives you room for one line. It was crap. You don't know what you're talking about. Well, really, in a conversation, you turn round and you say, listen, I don't agree with that. That was absolute rubbish. And you explain yourself. And when you see comments on there, that was crap. You don't know what you're talking about. Unfortunately, right, they're not explaining themselves to us of what they disagree with or what they see differently. But that's what happens. So we don't take anything personal unless it's personal abuse. And unfortunately, we do get some of that.
So?
It's water off a duck's back to me. I actually love it because I know they're not sleeping and I am.
Well, I'm not too sure. You was having some nightmares not too long ago.
I know, but okay.
Of the results, the dog was getting took out for a walk at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. But in terms of comments, listen.
Yeah, but I've turned myself around. I know,
but I'm not.
No comments. I love the comments.
Yeah,
I love them.
Listen, no matter what comments come through, the moderator who has access to the channel 24/7, I trust him, what they're actually doing. And if it's personal abuse, it gets wiped off. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
But in general discussions, you know, if you what I call us deluded, which I actually think's a great word to use actually for YouTube. I actually do like that word, I've got to be honest. But, you know, if it's personal abuse, and I don't mean against us, against each other, hopefully the mod is actually doing the right job in actually wiping that out, because, like I said earlier on, just want like a bit of a mature chat around our football club.
We don't want to become toxic.
And
that's what it is.
Well, sometimes it might come across what we say is toxic, but that's your own interpretation of it. We just come out, and sometimes, like I said, it's passionate. We're Manchester United fans, born cradle to grave, like a lot of yous out there. Yep. Some things do infuriate us. Sometimes we can't hide that because we're not media trained, and some things will come out the wrong way. But, you know, there has been some certain videos where we've come back on a video and said, well, you know what, maybe we did get that wrong. And we've explained ourselves in a more, like, relaxed way than we did on, like, let's say, a match reaction.
No, that's
true. You know, we don't get everything right. You know, no one gets everything right. I mean, it's human nature for everyone to be wanting to be right with their opinion, but it doesn't happen. But anyway, I feel like I'm going round and round and round and round, and my head's going for it here. Jar Live member says, fellas, don't worry about the negative comments. No, listen, I think the way you actually mentioned it is as though you did. And to be honest with you, like I say, for everyone out there, keep getting your opinions in. All I'm saying is any personal abuse to each other, it won't be tolerated, and it's as simple as that. We put ourselves on offer on a camera with a microphone, so we understand the world in the way it is. You've got trolls out there. You've got people who don't even watch the video, and they just come on and comment straight away with the negativity. That does happen. We do see that. We do have access to seeing things like that. We're aware of it. But, you know, for the general population out there who watch our channel on a regular basis, if you disagree, it's totally fine, trust me. So keep getting your opinions in. Smash that like button, and we'll be back tomorrow with a match preview for Man United versus West Ham. I'm looking forward to the game. The bread and butter is the Premier League, and I want to see back-to-back wins in the Premier League. Simple as, that's what I demand. Good luck and take care, everyone. Enjoy your day. Thank you.
Thank you.